Hello, and welcome to the 5th episode of the Kid Broadway podcast, intimate conversations with community and professional actors in Broadway news. And today we are chatting with Casey Lyons. Now please, sit back, relax, and enjoy the Kid Broadway podcast.
Perfect.
So, the first question that I always like to ask is, where are you from?
Chicago, Illinois.
How did you get into the whole theater thing?
I had always loved acting and singing and dancing, and it wasn't until I joined a choir. I joined a choir in, I think, probably 5th grade or 4th grade, and through that I went on to do my first community theater musical, which was Oliver, and I loved that. And then I went to a camp for acting, and that's kind of how I got into the professional side of it, because the leaders of that camp were doing a show at the theater that it was at, and at Drury Lane Theater in Oak Brook, and I got to be part of that and kind of took off from there.
That's really cool. So, do you have any pre-show rituals?
I think just kind of, I don't know. I don't really know that I have any big pre-show rituals. The last show that I was in, which was Love Never Dies, which was in 2018, I think, 2017. We always used to have dance parties before the show, and of course warm up our voices, and just kind of get excited for the show. I don't know that I have any specific ones that I'm like, oh, that is the definitive pre-show ritual for me, but just kind of get in the mood.
Yeah, you were in the first national tour of Love Never Dies. How was that experience?
That was just incredible. That it was so cool to see all the different places on tour, and visit all the theaters, the communities of people that we met along the way, and our cast and crew and creative team were, I mean, just spectacular. And also, I got to meet Andrew Lloyd Webber, which was like definitely the highlight.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah. And was it hard touring around? Like when you went to a different theater, did your family have to rent a hotel room or something?
So yeah, for the tour, the company management, we get to stay at hotels for throughout the whole thing, and you can either stay with the group or stay elsewhere. But we mainly stayed with the group that that the company had booked. So yeah, and my family would come out and visit a lot, it was always fun because my mom would come out almost every other week to wherever my dad and I, because my dad went on tour with me, wherever we were, they would come. And sometimes my family, I have a big family, I'm the youngest of 6, and so they would all come and visit on occasion, which was always really fun.
You also did Mary Poppins at the Mercury Theater in Chicago. How was that experience?
Oh, so much fun. I was really sad because the Mercury is actually closing down now. But that was so much fun. That's always a role that I wanted to play, Michael, because I just love that movie. That both that one and Sound of Music are like what I've grown up to, and I really enjoyed that.
Do you look up to anyone in the theater world?
So many people. I don't even think I could name a definitive one, but there are lots of people, and I think a lot of the people that I've worked with I definitely look up to them, and I'm really into writing music, so I look up to a lot of the great composers, Sondheim and Andrew Lloyd Webber and all of those. But I just think I seriously am so in love with theater that there's so many different people that I could not give you a definitive list.
How do you usually prepare for a role?
I think just, it's important to learn about what the character is in the time period and kind of the background of the character if they have an in-depth background, and just kind of get into it and how would the character act, and also how would they react to different things that are happening around them, is also really important, I think, to me. And just, keeping it real.
That's good. And what advice would you give to your to young people listening now, starting down a similar path?
Just follow your dreams. That's what I'm still working on right now. Following what I want to do, and just doing what you love, because that's what I like to do.
That's good.
So
advice.
do what you love.
So we're gonna wrap up here in a minute, but do you have anything coming up right now? Any new projects?
I have, well, because of the quarantine, I have pretty much nothing, and that's same for a lot of theater people. I'm actually working on. I wrote a musical a little while ago. I started it right before I went on tour, and I wrote it throughout the tour. And then I actually just had, my friends and I have a little theater company called Four Seasons.
That's really cool.
You should check us out, Four Seasons Performing Arts. And we performed my musical. So that's really what I'm really working on is my musical, and also some of my own original compositions and writing, and also just doing a lot of singing. That's really what I'm doing right now. I don't have anything huge coming up, but that's pretty much what I'm working on.
That's really cool. So we can find you on Instagram and Twitter at Casey Lyons Actor. Is there anywhere else we can find you?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
You can also go to my website, caseylyons.me.
Okay. Well, thank you, Casey, for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. That was a lot of fun.